We celebrate what comes from deep thought. But what about the price? You see, in the quiet parts of the mind, every great insight comes with a hidden cost. We see the brilliant result, that elegant solution, the piece of art that moves us, but we almost never look at the internal world that makes it possible, or the silent weight that world has to carry. But what if this burden, wasn't a flaw at all? What if it's just a feature, a natural part of a certain kind of mind? Psychology is starting to reveal that this might just be the case. So let's start with what's happening inside. These are the echoes in the mind, the invisible costs that come from constant analysis. For a lot of people, this is the first thing they'll recognize. It's that simple difficulty of switching off your thoughts at night. The day is over, but your mind, it just keeps going. It's replaying conversations, taking apart problems, exploring what-ifs, long after the lights are out. It's looking for some kind of resolution that sleep just can't offer. And because the mind is always so active, it often feels like you're living more in your own thoughts than in the present moment. You're either in the past, analyzing what happened, or you're in the future, getting ready for what might happen. The here and now, it can feel a little distant, almost like a place you're just passing through. And then there's the constant over-analyzing of these smallest social signals. A glance from someone, a certain word they use or don't use. To this kind of mind, those aren't just little details. They're pieces of a puzzle, clues to a deeper meaning that just beg to be figured out. Then there's the emotional exhaustion that can come from having really profound empathy. And this isn't just, understanding how someone feels. It's actually feeling it right along with them, sometimes just as intensely. And while that can create an incredible connection, it's also incredibly draining. And of course, there are other common struggles that come with this. Things like feeling responsible for preventing problems that haven't even happened yet, or a real fear of making a decision that isn't absolutely perfect, and even a kind of detachment when you're in an environment that just feels superficial. Okay, so these feelings aren't random. Let's look at the hidden architecture behind all this, the psychological patterns that are really at work here. So why does the mind even operate this way? Why doesn't it just stop? Well, the answer doesn't really have much to do with willpower. It's more about its fundamental design. The first piece of this puzzle is something called cognitive hyperactivity. Now, this isn't just overthinking. It's better to think of it as a mind that's constantly analyzing patterns, one that rarely gets to experience true mental rest. Yeah, this is the engine that never stops running. It's an engine that was really built for endurance, not for taking a break. Its job is to find patterns in the middle of chaos and to seek out logic where things are unclear. And that's exactly why you can't just turn it off. The next psychological pattern at work is called anticipatory processing. This is the mind's tendency to analyze and prepare for things that might happen in the future, and often feeling responsible for those outcomes too. So the mind is constantly trying to solve problems that haven't even arrived yet. And make no mistake, this isn't just idle daydreaming. It's a deep, often unconscious drive to create a sense of safety and order by trying to figure out and solve threats before they ever show up. And finally, there's emotional intensity. This is the capacity to experience feelings with this unusual depth, complexity, and nuance. And it's really important to say, this isn't about being overly emotional. It's about experiencing your feelings with a much higher resolution. It's really the act of feeling the world more profoundly. So joy feels more vibrant, sadness feels more resonant. The emotional world isn't necessarily louder, it's just deeper. And this is where that profound empathy comes from, but it's also where its heavy weight comes from too. Which brings us to insight's heavy price. This is the deep connection between having that depth and feeling that weight. It really all comes down to this. The same depth that creates insight also creates mental weight. That very same quality that lets you discover things, be creative, and understand the world on a deeper level, it's tied directly to this feeling of weight. You really can't have one without the other. So you see, this weight isn't a sign of being broken. It's a sign of depth. All of it, the exhaustion, the constant analysis, the intensity, it's not a bug. It's not a malfunction. It's just the natural result of having a mind that sees and feels the world with extraordinary depth. If you want to understand the psychology behind these quiet minds, you can subscribe and continue the deep dive with us.